In this review, we will be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse The Joker action figure. This item did release March of 2026, and depending on where you purchase this figure, it should have retailed for about $35 to $45. But either way, let's get on to the review. Now here's the figure out of the packaging along with all of its accessories. There are 2 extra sets of hands. The sculpt is nice, but these are supposed to be gloves, and since these are reused, they do stick out, especially the open hands. There is no paint, they are just molded in a purple plastic. Now when it comes to switching the hands, you do want to just grip the wrist and pull, and they shouldn't be too difficult when it comes to interchanging them. There is the standard McFarlane Toys base. It is just all molded black. You do have the peg hole and then the printed on DC logo. And to port it onto the figure, it is really simple. And once you port it onto the figure, it is not going anywhere. You also get a trading card. The artwork is the same that is on the back of the box. You do have the McFarlane Toys logo here on the side. And on the back, it is just telling you a description of the Joker. And it's a nice kind of shimmery, shiny material, and if you do want to read it, just push pause right here. The next accessory is this extra hairpiece. The sculpt is nice and detailed. It is just molded in a dark green with a light green airbrush on top, which really brings out the details in the sculpt. As for using this item, it is pretty simple. All you want to do is pull upwards on the hat and then push the hairpiece down onto the head. I recommend pinching the chin and the top together so that there are no real gaps. And once you do all that, it looks as if it was never meant to come off. The next accessory is a megaphone. The sculpt is simple, just enough to let you know what it is supposed to be. There is no paint anywhere. It is just molded in a flexible orange plastic, so be careful not to squeeze it too hard. As for using this item, it is pretty simple. First, I do recommend taking the hand off. It just makes putting the accessory into the hand a lot easier. All you want to do is push the handle into the hand. You may need to wiggle it as you're pushing just to make it easier to put on. Once you do all that, it does look nice in the figure's hand, and it is not going anywhere. The next accessory is a small revolver. The sculpt is nicely detailed. It is just molded in a gunmetal gray with some nice clean paint at the end of the barrel. The bang letters are on one side of the flag, which does limit the side you can have the figure posed in. As for using this item, it is pretty simple. First, I do recommend taking the hands off. It just makes putting the accessories into the hand a lot easier. All you want to do is push and wiggle the handle into the hand and make sure to pry open all the fingers when you do so. Once you do all that, it does look nice in the figure's hand, and it is not going anywhere. The next accessory is a cane. The sculpt is simple, just enough to let you know what it is supposed to be. There is some nice silver paint by the top, and it is molded in a flexible black plastic, so it is slightly warped because of that. As for using this item, it is pretty simple. All you want to do is push it into the hand. You may need to wiggle it as you're pushing though. Once you do all that, it does look nice in the figure's hand, and it is not going anywhere. You can also balance the tip of the cane into the fingers. It is tricky, but once you do it, it does look pretty good. However, the grip is barely hanging on. And the last accessory is this long revolver. It is a nicely detailed sculpt with no paint anywhere, just molded in a flexible gunmetal gray plastic, so it is slightly warped because of that. Now the last thing is that both of these revolvers are a different sculpt, which is a very nice touch. As for using this item, it is pretty simple. First, I do recommend taking the hand off. It just makes putting the accessories into the hand a lot easier. All you want to do is push and wiggle the handle into the hand and make sure to pry open all of the fingers when you do so. Once you do all that, it does look nice in the figure's hand, and it is not going anywhere. And finally, let's take a closer look at the figure. Now here is the head sculpt that is on the figure out of the packaging. The expression one on the face is a very nicely detailed sculpt with some nice clean paint throughout the face. As for the hat, it is molded in a purple plastic with some black paint. It does have some very nice texture throughout. As for the body, it is very nicely sculpted with very clean paint for the vest, tie, and shirt. And the tie does have these nice silver dots painted throughout. The back is just purple plastic with no paint on it. The arms do have these nice wrinkles sculpted throughout with a little bit of orange paint at the end. Now these are the hands that are on the figure out of the packaging. They do look nicely sculpted, but they are meant to be gloves, so them being reused does stick out. The pants do have this nice checkerboard pattern painted throughout. They are molded in a purple plastic, and the lines here are very crisp and clean with no noticeable splotching anywhere. And the paint is even on the back of the pants, which is very nice to see. As for the diaper piece, it is a rubbery material. Now the paint isn't inside the joints, so when you pose the figure, it does kind of stick out. The boots are molded in a dark purple plastic with no paint, and they are nicely sculpted with all the necessary details throughout. As for the bottom of the boots, they are simple yet effective with just some lines at the edges and some peg holes at the bottom of the heels. As for the articulation, the head can move up, down, and pivot from right to left, as well as rotate. The shoulders can hinge out, forward, back, and in, as well as rotate all the way around. The arms move in and rotate. The wrist can move up, down, and rotate. The torso can move forward, back, right, left, as well as rotate. The crotch allows the legs to move out, in, forward, and back. The knees move in. The feet can move up, down, as well as pivot, along with a toe hinge. As for the size comparison, here is the figure compared to some average body molds from multiple different companies such as Amazing Yamaguchi, Diamond Select Toys, Hasbro, McFarlane Toys, NECA, and SH Figuarts. I think this is about an 8.5 out of 10 at the level 1 scale, and here is my reasoning behind that. I think that the hands not being an actual glove sculpt does kind of suck, and because of that, some of the hands don't properly fit the pegs all the way. Another small thing is that the ball hinges at the wrist don't properly rotate. It seems as if they are glued in place for some reason. The plastic used for the accessories is just too rubbery, which does cause them to warp really easily. Another thing is that I do wish there was some more paint throughout the figure as well as the accessories. Like the megaphone could have used some black paint at the end of it, or the small revolver should have had the bang printing on both sides. And I do wish that some of the buttons on the figure did have some gold paint as well. The leg printing not going all the way into the joints does kind of suck, but that is kind of understandable due to the fact that it probably would have caused paint rub anyway. Usually I don't like the diaper piece on figures, but for this one I don't mind it because the color does match the leg printing, and because of all that, I do think the figure could have been about $5 less. Now overall, this is a really good release, especially for a McFarlane Toys action figure. Yeah, it kind of sucks that this isn't a proper Jack Nicholson Joker, but this is a good workaround. And to be honest, if they did a Jack Nicholson Joker, he probably would have been around double the price, especially when you look at the previous The Joker set, which was $250. Jack Nicholson Joker probably would have been like $100. So I am happy that we did get this figure in one form at least. But either way, this is a great addition to my Batman movie shelf, so I can't really complain too much, especially when he's on the shelf with the rest of the figures. He just fits right in. So let me know in the comments below what you would personally rate this figure out of 10 at the level 1 scale, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Now fuck off.